this would be a relaxing holiday.
Everything you need to know about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special so far. Star-Lord and his merry band of space outlaws reared their adorably goofy heads for a cup of coffee during Thor: Love and Thunder, but it becomes clear rather quickly that their time spent adventuring with the Asgardian has been more of a miss than a hit.
I am Groot.
Hey, we're not looking at you funny.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the film yet, because the Guardians of the Galaxy had a short, adventurous, but rather tumultuous existence. Sure, on one hand, Thor helped them accomplish absolutely any job they've been hired to carry out, because, well, he's one of the strongest gods in the MCU, and that kind of thing kinda counts, you know. But on the other hand, he'd keep pulling off stunts like making them fight until they've nearly lost and need to beg for his help, subjecting them to 2 screaming cosmic goats and making them generally so sick of him that they fly away at max speed as soon as he agrees to answer Sif's distress signal.
Groot, put that thing away. Now, I don't want to tell you again. Groot.
I am Groot.
Well, not after a particularly bromantic moment between Quill and Thor, but you get what we mean. However, where exactly did they head off to? Why did they go there? And how does this set up the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special coming up later this year? We're here to break all that down. This is everything you need to know about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special so far. And keep that spoiler alert on because we're going to dive into some plot speculation as well. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Because, I mean, it's not a competition, but I've been through a lot. My father killed my mother, and then I had to kill my father.
What have the Guardians of the Galaxy been up to after Infinity War? So the last time we saw Peter Quill's assorted team of scrappy intergalactic vigilantes, they were heading off into outer space with the Asgardian god of thunder Thor in tow.
No knifing one another. Everybody knows who's in charge.
Me. Right? Yes.
The Guardians had been through a lot by that point. Quill found the love of his life, discovered he was part god, killed his crazy full god dad, and then lost and regained the love of his life in the most bizarre turn of events.
This is the one? Seriously? Your choices were him or a tree.
Rocket and Groot went through every stage of friendship with each other, and then some. Groot even turned into a snooty teenager for like 2 whole movies there.
Groot?
Uh-huh.
I'm Groot.
No, that's exactly what you just said. How is that even possible?
Drax went from being a serious destroyer to becoming perhaps the best comic relief character in the story. And Gamora, well, she's dead, but she isn't. And the last time we saw her was on Quill's space computer where she turned up missing after the Thanos invasion was dealt with. Oh, and we should also mention Nebula's heart-wrenching redemption arc, and the fact that Kraglin has picked up Yondu's whistle-controlled arrow and a penchant for marrying someone on every planet that his crew lands on, which is something Quill has told him not to do multiple times. But well, keep at it, Star-Lord. You'll get through to him someday.
Thank you, Groot. Thank you. See? Groot's the only one of you who has a clue.
Once everyone was done paying their respects to Tony Stark for his heroic sacrifice, it was time to leg it back to outer space. They would be going back out there with a rather endearingly imposing figure, that being Thor Odin's son. Back in Infinity War, the Guardians came across the remnants of the Asgardian space vessel in which Thor was transporting all of his people and managed to save him.
Leader, will you join me on my quest to Nidavellir?
Let me just ask the captain. Oh, wait a second. It's me. Yeah, I'll go.
Wonderful.
Thor then went to Nidavellir with Rocket and Groot to create Stormbreaker with the help of Eitri, the dwarf, and they bifrosted their way back to Earth just in time to lose to Thanos. In the meantime, Gamora died at Vormir, and Star-Lord and the rest were turned to space dust by Thanos' snap. In Endgame, only Nebula survives the events of Titan, and she comes back to Earth with a Tony Stark defeated in body, mind, and spirit. But this being a superhero film, and Tony Stark being the residential ultimate genius of Earth in the MCU, he comes up with a safe way to travel back in time for the ultimate time heist.
I lost the only family I ever had. Quill, Groot, Drax, the chick with the antenna.
Thor and Rocket go to steal the Aether from Jane by going back to the events of Thor: The Dark World. Thor has a lovely chat with his mom, grabs his hammer for a quick scuffle, and they come back to find their friends alive. In the climactic battle, the Guardians and the Avengers team up with the rest of the heroes of the MCU to take out Thanos' massive army. And they succeed thanks to Tony Stark snapping his own fingers and laying down his life for the sake of the universe. At the end of Endgame, Thor makes Valkyrie king of New Asgard and takes off with the Asgardians of the galaxy to have another classic Thor adventure while discovering who he really is. And this is where we pick up in Thor: Love and Thunder, with our motley crew of gods and space animals off on yet another contract on a strange planet far, far away.
The odds may be against us, but I'll tell you this for free.
Here it comes.
This and here!
The Guardians of the Galaxy in Thor: Love and Thunder. The next time we see the Guardians is during the opening sequences of Thor: Love and Thunder. We find out that Korg and Miek have split up. Miek stayed on Earth to help Valkyrie run New Asgard, while Korg joined his best bro Thor for his space journey of self-discovery. Albeit this wasn't shown in Endgame, so this is a retcon that they've added to the story. But yes, as we mentioned already, the Asgardians of the Galaxy are back to their nefarious ways, answering distress calls and creating a few of their own to fill up those coffers. In the meantime, Thor has been trimming down, going from dad bod to god bod once again, and deciding to only intervene on the battlefield when Guardians explicitly couldn't handle something. Otherwise, he'd spend his time meditating and trying to figure out his true purpose in life. After trying, and failing, to recapture the shrine where a group of aliens had launched an attack on King Yakan's kingdom, they end up calling Thor in to help them. And as you might have expected, the God of Thunder cleans the house by himself. There's this really cool fanboy moment from Peter Quill when he apes Thor, yelling out his catchphrase, "This ends here and now."
And here and now!
Never change, Star-Lord. But after helping him take care of those alien invaders and taking on a couple of rather scream-prone goats, the Guardians observe what is perhaps the biggest distress call burst across the universe since Thanos' snap. Gore the God Butcher's divine rampage had left many planets like Yakan's devoid of their gods, and as a result, their civilizations were unraveling at the seams. Thor zones in on a distress call from Lady Sif and decides to go help his oldest friend alive at this point, but not before having the bromantic moment we mentioned in our intro with Star-Lord. And we have to say, Chris Hemsworth's eyes are the definition of dreamy in this scene. Just say yes, Quill.
Really dragging this out and finish the classic Asgardian I won.
But getting back to the point, after Peter advises Thor on what's important in life and how he should keep chasing that crappy feeling he gets whenever he thinks of Jane, the two parties split up, with Thor and Korg landing on Falagar, and the Guardians jetting out of the planet to ostensibly answer another distress call or finally start looking for Gamora. And that brings us to the holiday special, and well, we think we know what's going to happen there. So if you don't want to know what happens, then drop off here. Are you still with us? Okay, cool. Moving on to why you guys are really here. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and how Thor: Love and Thunder sets it up.
Oh, by the way, this is a friend of mine, Tree.
I am Groot!
I am Steve Rogers.
Everything we know about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. First things first, filming for the GOTG Holiday Special has already finished. James Gunn confirmed this in April 2022, with a tweet that gives away a lot about the story without saying too much. Now let's talk about the inspiration behind it.
Star-Lord.
Who?
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
As you might know, Gunn is a Star Wars fanatic, and you can really see that influence come through his MCU films especially. So it was not a question of if, but when would he inevitably try to create his own holiday special. And that question was answered in 2020, when Kevin Feige announced that he would be returning to helm the holiday special, as well as the third Guardians film, which is slated to be the last one with his creative team and roster incarnation so far. Fans of Star Wars will know that the holiday special released in 1978 is something of a rare commodity. Most fans hated it at the time, but it has become something of a collector's item given how rare it is to find a copy of the same. Well, clearly James Gunn has seen it, because he has decided to base his unique Disney Plus offering on the premise of this special, and that gives us a hint as to what might go down in this movie, because Gunn has stated that the events of this holiday special will be canon, and it will bridge the gap between Guardians 2, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Guardians 3. Plus, one of the core team members of the Guardians is set to miss out on the action, and Gunn has teased a rather odd yet exciting character introduction by claiming that his choice is one of the biggest characters in Marvel, period, but also rather offbeat. And of course there's the fact that Feige also announced the Baby Groot focused series, I Am Groot, alongside the special, which when all taken together will give you a general idea of how this thing will work.
That's not what I said!
I am Groot.
He's relieved you don't want him to.
I am Groot.
He hates ads.
I am Groot.
So the way we see it, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special will begin pretty much like the Star Wars Holiday Special, in that we will be visiting the home planet of one of the Guardians, and our money is on Groot's. Because in leaked reports, it has been stated that we will be seeing Planet X, Groot's homeworld, in an upcoming MCU project, but I Am Groot has no clear release schedule so far. And if you guys look at the sneak peek at the rap tweet that James Gunn made, you'll notice that Groot is much more muscular than he was in Love and Thunder. Groot's gains are directly related to his environment, as we've seen already in the first Guardians film. So it would make sense that the Guardians would visit his home planet and he'd beef up there thanks to the agreeable climate. So that's our first theory. Gunn's holiday special will give Groot the Chewbacca role and introduce a bunch of characters that can help set up the Groot spin-off series while furthering the storyline of the Guardians themselves. And speaking of that rap tweet, we also have confirmation that one of the strongest members of the Guardians of the Galaxy is finally going to be joining the team officially. If you count the number of bell decorations in the box Gunn got from Marvel XX as a thank you, you'll notice that there are 8 of them. Now that would make sense if Gamora was with them, but she's not, so that leaves Quill, Rocket, Nebula, Drax, Groot, Mantis, and Kraglin. That's 7 characters. So who could the 8th be? Well, it's none other than Cosmo, the space dog, who is set to join up with the Guardians over the course of this film.
Guardian of Galaxies.
Cosmo, buddy, where have you been? We've been calling you.
Sorry, Piotr Quill. Cosmo's ball's been tied.
In the comics, Cosmo is an extremely powerful telepath who is also the chief security officer of Nowhere. Yes, we're talking about that same severed celestial head you're envisioning right now. The MCU has merged Cosmo's story with that of Laika, a real-life dog that the Soviet Union sent into orbit, and had her end up as part of Tyvan's collection. In the first Guardians film, Tyvan's hideout was destroyed by the Power Stone's aura, and Cosmo broke out of his glass cage. In Infinity War, Nowhere was more or less destroyed by Thanos in his attempt to gain the Reality Stone. So that begs the question, where did Cosmo go to all this while? Did he just drift off into space until someone found him and called him into the Space Pound? Or was he already off Celestial Head by the time Thanos arrived? We doubt we'll get a straight answer to these questions from the special, but we will see Cosmo end up on the team for sure. This brings us to who this weird new addition to the team might be. Now, the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics are way different from what they are in the films. But hey, so are most of the arcs that Kevin Feige and company have adapted to the big screen. Yondu used to lead the Guardians in the comics. Moon Knight has 5 personalities, not 3, and Thanos has been slain by Squirrel Girl, who managed to wield the Infinity Gauntlet. In fact, we have a vague suspicion that it might just be her, given the language Gunn used in his tweet, but we might also be wrong, because Stephen Blackheart is apparently in this film, and his role hasn't been revealed in any capacity so far. He could just be talking about Cosmo instead. Or perhaps Adam Warlock, who has finally been cast and confirmed to be appearing in Guardians 3. The sensational Will Poulter, whom you'll most likely recognize from Bandersnatch, the Black Mirror movie, has been given the role of one of the strongest beings in the entire multiverse, and it will be interesting to see how he figures into things. Because we can pretty much agree on the fact that the Sovereign is going to be the main antagonist of Guardians 3, right? Also, Adam Warlock is actually a Guardian himself in the comics, and given the fact that most of the original cast might move on from the franchise after the 3rd film, Bautista definitely, we're going to need new faces to fill in for them.
My father would tell the story of impregnating my mother every winter solstice.
That's disgusting.
It was beautiful.
Adam Warlock will most certainly end up joining the Guardians at the end of Volume 3. The only question is, under what circumstances? And maybe Gunn uses this holiday special to set that up, because if you guys have happened to come across the Star Wars special at any point in your lives, then you'll know that they introduced Boba Fett to the franchise via the series of animations that were the most celebrated thing about an otherwise forgettable experience. Maybe we see something similar here, with Adam Warlock being put into conflict with the Guardians via an animated short story within the overarching special. Which brings us to our last point for this video, and that is Christmas. Yes, Christmas. the tentative release date of the special, and the assumed theme as well. Marvel is usually a master at keeping things hush-hush, but it looks like they might have let the cat out of the bag in a big way, as recently photos emerged of a California-style mansion being used as a filming location for the holiday special, decked out with Christmas decorations and a flipped police car in the driveway. This immediately got us thinking about why Star-Lord and his team would come to Earth, because you think they'd be out in space looking for Gamora and not forcing Quill to visit a planet he resents. And honestly, the only reason we would come up with this was because Quill wished for a visit to Kevin Bacon from Santa Claus.
A great hero named Kevin Bacon. He teaches an entire city.
Oh, that also reminds us, X-Men 97 comes out next year, and Santa Claus is a legit mutant in the comics, and James Gunn did say his choice for a new character was outrageous, so maybe it's Mr. Claus that he was talking about. To add further fuel to this fire, IMDb has David Moskowitz listed as Santa Claus in the cast credits for the holiday special, so maybe we are onto something here. But no. We think that Star-Lord will meet his favorite actor from his favorite film Footloose in this holiday special, and end up causing a bit of mischief there as well, considering the flipped-over cop car we saw in those leaks. And James Gunn has also said that the movie will have original music like the Star Wars special, so get ready for a beautiful solo number courtesy of Mantis, or maybe even Gamora if they make this a musical dream sequence instead. But yes, this is how Thor: Love and Thunder helps set up the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and our theories for how the whole thing will end up going down.
Boring as me tripping over your vines every day. I'm not boring.
Marvelous verdict. Most of the original cast will return to our screens in December this year, with the exception of Zoe Saldana, who will probably be seen in Volume 3 instead. And yes, it is true that the events of this holiday special will lay the groundwork for what will possibly be the last outing for this incarnation of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but on the flip side, that's probably why this format is perfect for them. Over the course of his 2 films in the MCU, James Gunn has made the Guardians of the Galaxy one of the most consistently entertaining aspects of the whole thing, and they weren't even B-list in the comics, quite frankly. So a funny, wacky, and ridiculously over-the-top holiday special is the perfect way to bridge a gap between Guardians Volume 2 and 3, which have at least a 6-year gap between them. So while it's going to be a fun Christmas watch for you and the family, do keep your eyes peeled for some of the hidden Easter eggs. Come back here and inform us whether we were right or wrong, and let us know what you think of our theories in the comments below. Until then, we're going to get back to our Zoom player. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use frickin'.